The distress call. The colony ship Meridian's Hope floated dead in space, its engines silent, its hull scarred by micrometeorite impacts. Inside, 1,200 colonists struggled to survive on dwindling resources, their dream of establishing humanity's furthest outpost transformed into a nightmare of isolation and despair. Captain Sarah Chen stared at the star charts displayed on her cracked console screen. They were 15 light-years beyond the established frontier, in a region of space that Earth's cartographers had labeled unexplored with casual indifference. The quantum drive failure had stranded them here 3 months ago, and their conventional engines couldn't generate enough thrust to return home within a human lifetime. Captain, Communications Officer Marcus Rodriguez called out, his voice tight with tension. "We've got multiple contacts emerging from subspace. They're not human signatures." Chen's heart sank. First contact scenarios were supposed to happen under controlled conditions, with diplomatic teams and military backup. Not like this. Not with a crippled colony ship carrying families, children, and civilians who had signed up for adventure, not warfare. The alien vessels materialized fully into normal space, their design utterly foreign to human aesthetics. Where Earth ships were angular and functional, these craft resembled organic crescents of polished obsidian, their surfaces rippling with bioluminescent patterns. 7 of them encircled the Meridian's Hope like predators surrounding wounded prey. "Incoming transmission," Rodriguez reported. It's in English, Captain." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a creature that made Chen's skin crawl. The Vractor, as they would soon learn to call them, stood 8 feet tall, their bodies covered in chitinous armor that shifted colors like oil on water. 4 arms ended in delicate manipulator claws, while compound eyes studied the human bridge crew with unsettling intensity. "Humans," the lead Vractor spoke, its voice a harmonious blend of tones that somehow formed recognizable words. "You have entered Vractor sovereign space. Your vessel carries valuable biological specimens and technology. You will surrender immediately for processing." Chen stood straighter, drawing on reserves of courage she didn't know she possessed. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Colonial Union vessel Meridian's Hope. We're a civilian ship carrying families and children. Our engines have failed, and we require assistance, not threats." The Vractor's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Your status is irrelevant. You are resources to be harvested. Your species is unknown to the Galactic Registry, indicating you are an isolated race without allies. Surrender now, and some of you may survive as specimens for study." Chen's mind raced. The Vractor had learned English somehow, probably by monitoring Earth's electromagnetic emissions that leaked into space. But they clearly knew little about humanity itself, and nothing about Earth's military capabilities. She made a desperate decision. "Give us 24 hours to consider your terms," Chen said. "Our people need time to prepare." The Vractor commander tilted its head, compound eyes glinting. "You have 12 hours. Any attempt to flee or resist will result in immediate harvesting." The connection terminated, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Chen turned to Rodriguez. "Send the distress signal. Maximum power, wideband transmission. Include our location, the threat assessment, and—" She paused, remembering something her grandfather, a veteran of the Mars Rebellion, had once told her. "Add the code phrase Broken Arrow. Military will know what it means." Rodriguez's eyes widened. "Captain, that's the code for extreme threat to civilian lives requiring immediate military intervention." Chen finished. "I know. Send it." As the distress signal pulsed out into the cosmos, Chen knew the odds were against them. Earth was 15 light-years away. Even if the signal reached home instantly through quantum entanglement relays, it would take weeks for any ship to arrive. The Vractor would have dissected them all by then. Days passed in tense negotiations. The Vractor, supremely confident in their technological superiority, allowed the humans to maintain life support and basic functions. They seemed almost curious about human behavior under stress, like scientists observing lab rats. Chen used this to her advantage, drawing out discussions about surrender terms while secretly preparing her people for the worst. On the 10th day, something changed. The Vraktor commander appeared more agitated during their daily communication. "Your time is ending, human Chen. We have detected no rescue vessels, no allied fleets coming to your aid. Your isolation is confirmed. Tomorrow, we begin the harvest." That night, Chen gathered her senior staff in the observation lounge. Outside the viewport, the Vraktor ships maintained their ominous vigil, their bioluminescent hulls pulsing like deep-sea predators. "I won't lie to you," Chen said quietly. "Our signal has had time to reach Earth, but help isn't coming in time. We need to prepare the civilians for what's about to happen. Maybe some of us can." "Captain," Rodriguez burst into the room, his face flushed with excitement. "Long-range sensors just picked up something. Quantum signatures. Massive ones. They're using a type of FTL drive I've never seen before." Chen felt her heart skip. "How many ships?" 9. No, 12. "Captain, they're broadcasting Earth transponder codes. It's the Iron Wolves." A chill ran down Chen's spine. Every human knew about the Iron Wolves, though few had ever seen them. Earth's most elite deep space fleet, they were spoken of in whispers even among military personnel. Officially, they didn't exist. Unofficially, they were humanity's final answer to existential threats. On the bridge of the Vraktor command vessel, Supreme Harvester Kextheta noticed the quantum disturbances at the same moment. Its tactical officer's scales shifted to a muted purple, the color of confusion. "Supreme Harvester, unknown vessels approaching at impossible speeds. Their technology doesn't match any known configuration in our databases." Kextheta's mandibles clicked dismissively. "Origin. They bear the same quantum signatures as our prey. More of these humans. But their drive technology." The tactical officer paused, scales shifting to deep crimson, the color of alarm. "Supreme Harvester, their energy output readings are beyond our measurement capabilities." Kextheta turned all 4 of its compound eyes toward the tactical display, studying the approaching signatures. "Impossible. No unregistered species could possess such advanced technology. These readings must be sensor ghosts or decoys." "Supreme Harvester," another officer interrupted, "the human vessel is receiving transmissions. Shall we jam their communications?" "No," Kextheta decided. "Let us observe how these primitives react to false hope. When their rescue fleet proves to be mere sensor illusions, their despair will make the harvest all the more efficient." But on the Meridian's hope, the transmission they received was very real. The voice that came through their speakers carried an accent Chen couldn't quite place, perhaps Korean mixed with something else, but the authority in it was unmistakable. "Meridian's hope. This is Commander Zhang Wei of the Earth Strategic Defense Force, commanding the Iron Wolf Squadron. We received your broken arrow. Sit tight, the cavalry's here." Chen grabbed the communications console. "Commander Zhang, this is Captain Chen. Be advised, we're surrounded by 7 heavily armed alien vessels. They call themselves the Vraktor, and they threaten tow." "We see them, Captain," Zhang interrupted calmly. "Maintain your current position and switch to emergency frequencies. Things are about to get interesting." The Vraktor Supreme Harvester watched with growing unease as 12 vessels materialized from quantum space, where the Vraktor ships were elegant curves of bioengineered perfection. These human vessels were brutal in their simplicity, massive rectangular hulls of some unknown dark metal, bristling with what could only be weapon systems. The lead ship, easily twice the size of Kextheta's command vessel, bore markings that translated to Fenrir in the human script. "Open communications with the lead human vessel," Kextheta ordered. "Let us educate them on the reality of their situation." Commander Zhang Wei's image appeared on the Vraktor view screen. He was a compact man with silver-streaked hair and eyes that seemed to look through Kextheta rather than at it. Behind him, his bridge crew worked with silent efficiency. "Unknown vessels," Kextheta began. You have entered a Vractor harvest operation. The civilian ship you seek to protect has already been claimed. Withdraw immediately, or face the same fate. Zhang's expression didn't change. I am Commander Zhang Wei of the Earth vessel Fenrir. You are currently threatening Earth citizens. You will release the colony ship and depart this system immediately. Kex Theta's scales shifted to vibrant yellow, the color of amusement. You arrive with 12 ships to face our 7 and make demands. Your mathematical comprehension is as limited as your technology. We have been harvesting species across this galaxy for millennia. You are nothing but. Commander, one of Zhang's officers interrupted, loud enough for the Vractor to hear. All weapons locked. Wolf Protocol is authorized. Zhang nodded slightly. Supreme Harvester, you mentioned mathematics. Let me share some numbers with you. The Meridian's Hope carries 1,247 human souls. That's 1,247 reasons why we're here. You've had 11 days to reconsider your actions. That's 264 hours of opportunity to avoid this moment. Kex Theta's compound eyes narrowed. You speak in riddles. Primitive. Your numbers mean. And you've made one fundamental error in your calculations. Zhang continued as if Kex Theta hadn't spoken. You assumed humanity would abandon its own. The space around the Vractor ships suddenly filled with targeting lasers, not from the 12 visible human ships, but from dozens of points in empty space. Stealth vessels, undetectable until they chose to reveal themselves, had surrounded the Vractor formation. Impossible. Kex Theta's tactical officer shrieked. Supreme Harvester, we're detecting 47 distinct weapon locks. Zhang's voice remained steady. The Iron Wolves never hunt alone. Supreme Harvester. Now, about that withdrawal. Kex Theta's scales flickered through a spectrum of colors as its mind raced. The humans had traveled 15 light-years in 11 days, a feat that should have been impossible. They had deployed stealth technology that evaded Vractor sensors completely, and their commander showed none of the fear or desperation that prey species typically displayed. You are not an isolated species, Kex Theta said slowly. You are something else. Zhang leaned forward slightly. We're humans, Supreme Harvester. We explore the stars not because we're running from something, but because we're curious about what's out there. We send colony ships to the farthest reaches of space because we dream of new horizons. And when someone threatens our people, no matter how far away, no matter how impossible the odds, we come for them. But the cost, Kex Theta protested. The resources required to mount such a rescue are irrelevant. Zhang finished. You made the mistake of thinking we calculate worth the way you do. To us, those 1,247 lives are priceless, and we will cross the galaxy itself to bring them home. The bridge of the Meridian's Hope fell silent as they watched the exchange. Captain Chen felt tears forming in her eyes, not of fear or relief, but of profound pride in her species. They had come. Against all logic, against all odds, Earth had sent its very best to save them. The Iron Wolves arrive. Supreme Harvester Kex Theta stood motionless on the command platform, its scales cycling through colors that its subordinates had never seen before. The tactical display showed the true scope of their predicament. 47 human vessels had materialized from seemingly empty space, each one locked onto a specific Vractor target with weapons of unknown configuration. Analysis, Kex Theta demanded, its voice carrying harmonics of stress that made its bridge crew flinch. The senior tactical officer's appendages trembled as it responded. Supreme Harvester, their stealth technology operates on principles we cannot identify. Their weapons, the energy signatures suggest they're using contained antimatter reactions, but the containment method defies our understanding of physics. That's impossible. Kex Theta snapped. Antimatter containment at that scale would require solving equations your species won't discover for another 1,000 years. Commander Zhang Wei interrupted over the communication channel. His calm demeanor hadn't changed, but something in his eyes made Kex Theta's scales shift to deep violet. the color of primal fear. You cannot bluff with such claims, Kexthida responded, though its voice lacked conviction. The energy requirements alone. Zhang made a subtle gesture to someone off-screen. Suddenly, one of the smaller human vessels fired a single projectile toward a nearby asteroid, a chunk of rock roughly the size of a Vraktor cruiser. The weapon moved at velocities that shouldn't have been possible, leaving a trail of distorted spacetime in its wake. The asteroid didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, converted entirely to energy in a flash that momentarily outshone the local star. When the Vraktor sensors recovered from the overload, only an expanding cloud of plasma remained. That, Zhang said quietly, was one of our smaller weapons, a tactical yield antimatter torpedo. The Fenrir carries strategic weapons that could crack a moon in half. Would you like another demonstration? Kexthida's compound eyes focused on the human commander with new understanding. Your species has mastered antimatter technology, but the Galactic Registry shows no record of such advancement in this sector. How long have you possessed this capability? Long enough, Zhang replied. We developed it out of necessity, not desire. Earth learned early that the universe can be a dangerous place, so we prepared. The tactical officer's scales had turned pure white, the color of absolute terror. Supreme Harvester, if their claims are accurate, a single one of their vessels could destroy our entire harvest fleet, and they have 47. Kexthida's mind raced through the implications. The Vraktor had built their empire on technological superiority, subjugating or harvesting species that couldn't match their capabilities. But these humans, they had somehow achieved a level of advancement that rivaled the oldest civilizations in the galaxy, and they had done it in isolation. What do you want? Kexthida asked finally, its voice subdued. Zhang's expression softened slightly, the first emotion he had shown during the encounter. We want our people back, Supreme Harvester. We want you to understand that humanity protects its own, and we want you to spread the word throughout your empire and beyond. What word? That humans are not prey. We are not resources to be harvested. We are explorers, dreamers, and builders. We offer friendship to those who approach in peace. But to those who threaten our people, Zhang paused, his gaze hardening. We are the wolves you should fear in the dark. Kexthida's scales shifted to a deep blue, the color of contemplation. If we withdraw, if we guarantee safe passage for your colony ship, will you allow us to leave? Not just leave, Zhang corrected. You'll escort the Meridian's Hope to the nearest human outpost. You'll provide them with any supplies or assistance they need, and you'll record everything that happens here in your archives. Why the recordings? Because the next time one of your harvest fleets encounters humans, we want them to remember this moment. We want them to understand the choice they face: peaceful coexistence or the Iron Wolves. On the bridge of the Meridian's Hope, Captain Chen watched in amazement as the Vraktor fleet began to reconfigure. Their weapons powered down, and their formation shifted from an aggressive encirclement to a protective escort pattern. Captain, Rodriguez whispered, are they actually surrendering? Before Chen could respond, a new transmission came through, this time directly from the Fenrir to the Meridian's Hope. Commander Zhang's face appeared on their main screen, and for the first time, he smiled. Captain Chen, this is Commander Zhang. The Vraktor have agreed to escort you to Starbase Horizon. We'll shadow you the entire way, just to make sure they keep their word. Chen had to clear her throat before speaking. Commander, we thought we were alone out here. We thought no one would come. Zhang's smile widened. Captain, let me tell you something about Earth's military doctrine. It's built on a simple principle. No one gets left behind. It doesn't matter if you're a Marine on a battlefield or a colony ship in uncharted space. When humans call for help, humans answer. But the cost, the resources, are worth it, Zhang finished. Every single time. The Iron Wolves exist for moments like this, Captain, where humanity's promise made manifest. that wherever humans go in this galaxy, they go with the full backing of Earth behind them. As the combined fleet began its journey toward human space, the Vraktor command ship maintained formation with mechanical precision. Inside its bridge, Supreme Harvester Kextheta studied the sensor readings of the human vessels with growing unease. Supreme Harvester, the science officer reported, "I've completed my analysis of their drive systems. The energy output suggests they could have reached this location even faster than they did. They held back." Kextheta's scales flickered. "Explain." "They could have arrived in perhaps half the time, but that would have created quantum disturbances detectable across the sector. They chose a slower approach to achieve tactical surprise. They planned this entire encounter," Kextheta realized. "Every moment, every word calculated for maximum psychological impact." "Supreme Harvester, there's something else. I've detected quantum communication beacons activating throughout this region. The humans are establishing a permanent monitoring network." Kextheta turned to face its bridge crew. "Record everything. Every sensor reading, every tactical analysis, every moment of this encounter. The Vraktor Empire must understand what we've discovered here." "What have we discovered, Supreme Harvester?" Kextheta's scales settled into a pattern of deep respect, a color rarely seen on a Vraktor commander. "We've discovered a species that values its individuals above resources, that develops terrifying weapons not for conquest, but for protection, and that will cross impossible distances for a principle. We've discovered that humans are not prey." It paused, compound eyes focusing on the massive human dreadnought on their screens. "They are apex predators who choose to be explorers." 3 weeks later, the unusual convoy reached Starbase Horizon. The massive human installation orbited a binary star system, its docking arms extended to welcome the battered colony ship. As the Meridian's Hope began its approach, thousands of people lined the station's observation decks, waiting to welcome their lost brothers and sisters home. Commander Zhang stood beside Captain Chen on the colony ship's bridge, watching as the Vraktor fleet prepared to depart. "What will happen to them now?" Chen asked. "They'll return to their space with a new understanding," Zhang replied. "And they'll spread the word, humans are off the menu. And if others don't believe them." Zhang's expression turned grim. "Then they'll learn the same lesson. The Iron Wolves will make sure of it." As the Vraktor ships engaged their FTL drives and vanished into quantum space, Chen felt a profound shift in her worldview. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe, and that universe could be hostile. But they weren't helpless either. "Commander," she said quietly, "thank you. Not just for saving us, but for showing us what humanity is capable of." Zhang nodded. "Captain, you showed that first. You kept your people alive and hopeful for 11 days against impossible odds. You sent the distress signal even when logic said help couldn't arrive in time. That's the human spirit the Iron Wolves exist to protect." On Earth, the news of the Meridian's Hope incident spread rapidly. Military tacticians studied the engagement, diplomats prepared for potential first contact scenarios, and ordinary citizens felt a surge of pride in their species' response. But perhaps the most significant impact was on humanity's colonies throughout the galaxy. The message was clear: no matter how far they traveled, no matter what dangers they faced, they were never truly alone. Earth would come for them. In the following months, dozens of species observed the aftermath of the Vraktor encounter with great interest. The Galactic Registry, that vast database of known civilizations, added a new entry for humanity. But unlike most entries that focused on technological capabilities or resource holdings, this one carried a different kind of warning. Species 7834b. Humans. Origin. Earth. Sol system. Technology level. Advanced. Antimatter capability confirmed. Special note. Maintains extreme loyalty to scattered populations. Will mount disproportionate rescue operations for minimal strategic gain. Approach with caution. protective responses may exceed rational military doctrine. Supreme Harvester Kex Theta, reading this entry from its homeworld, added its own observation to the Vraktor archives. They call their rescue fleet the Iron Wolves. The name is apt. Wolves hunt in packs, protect their young, and fear nothing in their domain. But these wolves have stars in their eyes and compassion in their hearts. They are not what we expected. They are something far more dangerous. Predators who choose mercy, warriors who dream of peace. The galaxy will never be the same. Back at Starbase Horizon, as the Meridian's Hope underwent repairs and its colonists recovered from their ordeal, children played in the observation lounges, pressing their faces against the viewports to watch the stars. Their parents had told them stories of the Iron Wolves, of Commander Zhang, and his impossible rescue across the vast emptiness of space. One little girl, no more than 7 years old, turned to her mother with bright eyes. "Mommy, will the Iron Wolves always come if we need help?" Her mother, one of the colony ship's engineers, smiled and pulled her daughter close. "Yes, sweetheart. No matter how far we go, no matter how dark it gets, they'll come. That's what humans do. We take care of our own." Outside the viewport, the stars beckoned, infinite possibilities, endless frontiers, unknown dangers. But humanity faced them with new confidence. They were not alone in the universe, but more importantly, they were never alone as a species. Somewhere in the dark between stars, the Iron Wolves patrolled, ready to answer the next impossible call. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans might send their children to the stars in fragile colony ships, armed with nothing but hope and determination. But behind every human explorer, every settler, every dreamer who dared to venture into the unknown, stood the full might of Earth, ready to remind the universe that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology, but their unwavering commitment to each other. As Commander Zhang had said, they were the wolves to fear in the dark, but only if you threatened their pack. The story of the Meridian's Hope became legend, told in human schools and military academies, whispered in alien councils and trading posts. It was the day the galaxy discovered that humans had a different definition of impossible, and that their bonds of loyalty stretched across light years without weakening. In the end, that was humanity's true gift to the galaxy. Not their antimatter weapons or quantum drives, but the radical notion that every life mattered, that no one was expendable, and that too far was not in their vocabulary when their people needed them. The Iron Wolves continued their patrols, the silent guardians of humanity's expanding frontier. And throughout the galaxy, species learned to recognize their distinctive quantum signatures with a mixture of respect and relief. Respect for their power, relief that such power served protection rather than conquest. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy, not with threats or demands, but with a simple, unbreakable promise. We will come for our own. Always.